Hey everybody, it's Mr. Marshall, and I have a book for you today. This is a picture book. It's one of my favorite picture books ever. It's just got such beautiful language and such a nice story inside it. So I hope you enjoy it. It's called The Rooster's Gift. It's written by Pam Conrad. So let's see. The Rooster's Gift, and it's dedicated to Elliot. Here we go. Listen to the language here. Once upon a hill, in a brand new chicken coop, there were 10 tiny chicks who had just broken out of their eggs, dried off, fluffed themselves, and looked around. An old farmer and his wife looked down on them, and the chicks heard the woman say, "Sure hope one of them's a rooster." Then the old couple left the chicks to wonder. The gift. The rooster. "Where are we?" wondered one chick. "What are we?" added another. "Hope I'm a rooster," said yet another. And they spoke all with little peeps and squeaks and cheeps. "I think I'm a rooster," said one little chick, and they all turned around to look at him. "What makes you think so?" they asked. "Just a feeling," he said. "Just a feeling." And they looked at him strangely, because instead of speaking in peeps and squeaks and cheeps, this particular chick spoke in glickles and gorks and flunks. Something was definitely different about this one. Look at him. He looks a little different, doesn't he? Do you think he's the rooster? So the old farmer's wife brought them food every morning, corn, grain, and seeds. She scattered them on the dirt and watched the chicks carefully, and every day they grew a little more. Soon they changed from fluffy little chicks to bigger chicks, to hens. And instead of speaking with peeps and squeaks and cheeps, they started speaking with buck-bucks and cackles. Except for one, the different one. When he spoke, it began to sound like katackle, katackle, flunk. "That's our rooster, all right," the old woman said one day, pointing him out to the old farmer. The young rooster thrust out his chest and swelled with pride. "Sure hope he's got the gift," the old woman said. And she went away. What's the gift? What's the gift? "What did she say?" buck-bucked one hen. "What's the gift?" cackled another. "Sure wish I had the gift," cheeped still another. "I believe I do have the gift," said the young rooster, and they all circled around him. "What makes you think so?" they asked. "Just a feeling," he said. Do you think you know what the gift is? Then one night. You know in books when it says then one night or then one, you know something important's about to happen, right? Then one night, very late, very, very late, past late to something else, the young rooster awoke in the dark coop. All his sisters were sleeping. He closed his eyes and tried to sleep again. But something would not let him. "It's the gift," he thought. Very carefully, he stood and tried to leave the coop without making any noise. But all the hens heard him and sleepily followed their brother out into the blackness that covered the hill. "What's he doing?" asked one. "He's acting so strange," said another. "Maybe it's the gift," whispered yet another. And the young rooster took 2 hops and found himself standing atop the chicken coop. Look at that. What's he doing? All his sisters were standing below. He couldn't help himself. Something just pushed him up there. quiet hush fell over the chickens, over the hill, over the sky. Isn't that beautiful? Young Rooster tightened his feet on the rim of the coop, closed his eyes, stretched his body far, far, high and high into the night, and then... Cock-a-cock-a-doodle-doo! The chickens stared at him. "Get down from there," scolded one. My, worried another. And then again, louder and wilder. Cock-a-cock-a-doodle-doo! Young Rooster was glorious. He felt lifted up, charged, holy. Wow. That was the first time he ever crowed. He ignored the chickens scolding him, but then he heard one of them gasp, "Look! Look!" Young Rooster was facing east. He opened his eyes, and a streak of orange shot across the horizon. Yellows pirouetted into the clouds. Slowly, slowly, but so surely, the sky ran from black to indigo to blue. "Look what you've done, Rooster! Look what you've done!" "Look what I've done," Rooster repeated, and he was weak with joy. "It's the gift," he told them. "It's the gift. I make the day. That's my gift." The truly glorious part of the gift was that it didn't happen just once. It happened every single morning. Young Rooster would wake in the night for no reason, strut out into the brisk air, hop up on the roof of the coop, and give out a mighty cock-a-cock-a-doodle-doo, and the day would begin. He was amazing. Now, it wasn't that the hens got used to it or anything, but after a week or so, they didn't follow him out into the darkness to watch anymore. They would sit in their feathers and straw with their eyes open the slightest bit, and they would listen to his strong feet skip across the roof of the chicken coop. Cock-a-cock-a-doodle-doo! They would hear him cry, and ever so slowly they'd watch the inside of the chicken coop begin to glow and glow bright. They were all proud of their young rooster, but they didn't need to watch anymore. Except for one of them, that is, the smallest. She would wake as soon as he did and follow him out of the coop into the darkness. She would stand there on the grass and watch as he'd bound up onto the roof, stretch himself high and high against the stars, and cry his call across the valley. There she is, watching him. Then the smallest hen would face the east and smile as the colors appeared, and the sun would answer. Even on rainy mornings, she would stand there, and drops glistening on her soft feathers, and watch the darkness as it would turn to mist, and the pale, tender day would begin. The smallest hen would wait until the sun was well up in the sky, and then she would say to young Rooster, "Thank you, Rooster, thank you." In the beginning, he would grin and hop down from his perch to be by her, and they would talk about the gift. But eventually, after smiling slightly, he would be on his way. Soon he would only nod, and then barely nod, and then finally he didn't even hear her. Rooster was growing very proud of this gift. Very, very proud. Is that good? I don't know. I don't really like that, right? He's not being very nice to the smallest hen anymore. Day after day, young Rooster began the day, and days turned into seasons, and seasons into years, and the hens laid eggs, and what the old farmer's wife didn't take away in her basket became tiny chicks. Rooster had stopped sleeping in the crowded coop long ago, but his smallest hen, continued to wake up in time to watch him make the day. One night, here we go again, one night, smallest hen woke up and ruffled her feathers. Her sisters and their chicks snored all around her. She tiptoed over the straw and the feathers, out the door to the grass. For the first morning that Smallest Hen could remember, Rooster was nowhere in sight, so Smallest Hen snuggled down onto the grass and waited. No rooster. No rooster. Still no rooster. Smallest Hen looked over the hills, and it was dark. She couldn't see a thing. Where was he? Where was the rooster? She squinted into the woods. No rooster. She stood and began walking in chicken circles. What if something happened to him? Who would start the day? And she peered off into the woods again. They were dark against a lightening sky. He wasn't coming from the woods. She looked again over the hills that were growing brighter. He wasn't coming over the hills. She looked into the sky as two swallows crisscrossed above her. She looked east as the sun was coming up in the valley. Well, I'll be plucked, she whispered. The sun came up anyway. Well, Rooster came panting up behind her. His feathers were wild. Look at that. His wings were flapping. His tail was awry. What's going on? He shouted. How could you go on without me? Smallest Hen shrugged. It just happened, she said. I was standing here waiting for you. I didn't do a thing. And before I knew it, the hills lightened and the valley grew bright and the sun came up. Poor Rooster, right? He was so proud. And now, what must he be feeling? Without me, he whispered. Without me? Smallest Hen nodded. Without you, she agreed. Rooster turned and walked away from her toward the valley. She called after him, But it's much better with you. But Rooster didn't hear her. He was looking at the sun that no longer looked like his. The next day, Smallest Hen awoke as usual and went outside. Rooster was there in the darkness, standing on the roof of the coop. He didn't make a sound. He was very still, and she watched him. And gradually, the sky lightened again. The valley came to life, and the sun lifted in the east. I don't believe it, Rooster murmured, and he went away. He still thinks it was all about him, doesn't he? Each day it was the same thing. Rooster on the roof, Smallest Hen in the grass, the sun in the east. So what's my gift? Rooster finally shouted one morning. If it's not to bring up the sun, what is it? Maybe the gift is that you know when the sun is about to come up, she suggested. Rooster stared at her. That makes no sense whatsoever. What good is that? Even you know when the sun is about to come up. Smallest Hen fluffed and blushed, for she knew that this was true. But it's you who call to the sun, she told him. Ridiculous, he said. Anyone could do that, even you. So the next morning he tried to show her. In the darkness he pushed her up onto the roof. He eased her along the edge out to the peak. Hold on here, he said, showing her the way to wrap her toes around the roof. Now stretch up. She grew round and fat. Stretch up, he said. I am. No, you're not. You're getting round and fat. It's the best I can do, she said. Rooster shook his head. All right now. Wait a while, and when it feels right, yell cock-a-doodle-doo. She looked at him doubtfully. She was afraid to be this high up on the roof. She wrapped her toes around the edge. She hunkered down into her round, fat body, waited, and then when the moment felt right, when the sun felt like a big, fat egg about to emerge from the darkness, she cried, "Bark, bark, 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 bark." Rooster was aghast. "What was that?" he said. Smallest Hen was embarrassed. Terribly embarrassed. "Well, you needn't make fun." She fell to the ground in a whirl of feathers. Rooster hopped down after her. "Wait, I'm not making fun. It was the best that I could do," she huffed. "Yes," he said, "I believe you, and I'm beginning to understand." "About the gift?" she asked. He nodded. "I know when the sun is about to rise," he told her. "And so do you, Smallest Hen. Yet somehow I know when it is coming." "Yes, somehow I know when it is coming," she admitted. "But you can't announce it quite the same," he said. Smallest Hen agreed. "Well, that's apparent." He thought for a while, and then he smiled at her. "I do it quite well, don't I?" "You do it very well, Rooster. I've always loved the way you did it." "I guess that's the gift," he said quietly. "Not quite like pulling the sun out of the night, but a gift nonetheless, wouldn't you say?" "I'd say so," Small Hen agreed. She's a good friend, isn't she? That night, very late, very, very late, very late, past late to something else, old Rooster took 2 hops and stood atop the chicken coop. Blackness covered the hill, and a quiet hush slept in the hollows of the valley. Old Rooster held very still, tightened his feet over the rim of the coop, closed his eyes, stretched his body far, far, high and high into the night, and then together, old Rooster and Smallest Hen sat. They watched as a streak of pink shot across the hills into the valley, and yellows bathed the trees, and blues melted across the sky, and the sun rose like the most glorious egg in the world. "Well done, Rooster," bucked Small Hen. "Well done." And that is the end. What a beautiful story, isn't it? They're good friends. And the rooster's not perfect, but he's got a really good friend, right? So I hope you enjoyed this story. If you want to learn more about this, watch the video again and listen to something that the author Pam Conrad does. She uses lists. She creates something called a triple, right? She makes a list of 3 things, and sometimes it's 3 words or 3 groups of words called phrases, or sometimes it's even 3 sentences, and she paints a picture with her words, like the most beautiful egg in the sky, right? Listen to that. Try that out. You might be able to do that in your writing or recognize it in someone else's writing, okay? Enjoy that, and I'll see you next time.